I believe advertising is still relevant. I don't think it's necessarily going to carry the biggest weight in your marketing mix of what you're doing, because we do have now all of these wonderful tools at our disposal. But there is still a place for some advertising, depending on which particular business as to how much there is. And you are still going to be approached by small business, advertising sales reps wanting you to take up opportunities to advertise with them. And to that end, I think it's worth us just having a look at, if you're going to advertise, what media is going to do what job for you, and some of the things to watch out for. I want to just use two really quick examples also of who I think these people, not just from advertising point of view, but from a marketing point of view, do an excellent job. And you could go a long way to find businesses who do it so consistently as these. And there is no reason why you can't use these case studies and apply your own business to them. Shannon's started out in 1971 as car insurance for people who had very, very rare cars like Go-Go-mobiles, and some of us will remember that. That ad started as an ad for White Pages or Yellow Pages, and they eventually picked the guy up over at Shannon's and got him to move over and start advertising it. And there he is from the screenshot. Shannon's only advertise on television in motor racing type events and shows that appeal to people who believe themselves to have an interest in motor racing and motor cars. So they will advertise in Top Gear. They were probably SBS's largest advertiser last year, which meant they bought 3 ads. No, they were probably SBS TV's largest advertiser last year, and of course they've now transferred that or part of it across to Channel 9 because they've got Top Gear. If you watch V8 supercars and Grand Prix and everything else, nearly every ad you will see Shannon. You will not see them ever anywhere else. They want to own the position that they are the insurance company if you are a motoring enthusiast. You might have a Matchbox car. You might be driving just a very ordinary Hyundai, but if you consider yourself as an interest, as a member of that community of motoring enthusiasts, you will use Shannon. And everything that they do to support the main advertising on television to build brand awareness, which is why you'd want TV, brings you then back to a website that has a list of car clubs. It has forums you can join. It has reviews of beautiful old classic cars. It is rich with content. Some of those buttons actually talk about getting insurance as well. But they want to own the position of representing the motoring enthusiast. Their business happens to be insurance. But that's not what it means to their customer. And knowing what it means to the customer, everything they do follows through with that. So, keeping in mind that your customers will go through aware, interest, desire, action and search, when you're looking for media, and I loosely called this presentation, I tried an ad once, it didn't work. Well, of course it didn't. You did it once. It's not the media's fault. You need 2 things to start with. One is reach, and reach is referring to you running your ad where you're going to get it in front of the most people within your target market. Not necessarily all people, but just that you get to be talking to directly for a radio ad or a TV, magazine or newspaper, talking directly to the people who are the most likely to be your customers. And the other is frequency. Any advertising campaign has to deliver both reach and frequency when you first decide where to advertise it. And most messages need to be seen, heard, be aware of 7 to 9 times before they'll take any traction. So one ad once is not necessarily going to get you any kind of response. Now, there are some places that the reach is so good and so targeted that so many people who see the ad already are thinking, this is so perfect for me, that you'll actually bring the frequency down and they'll respond straight away. Have we all heard of AIDA? I don't mean the opera. Awareness, interest, desire, and action. And we now add to that model and sharing because of all the new technologies we have at our disposal. Mass media is brilliant at certain stages of this model, but not at all of them. And these are the stages that your customers will go through when they first become aware of you. And then they get a little bit more interested, and some of them drop off, but some who are really into it are now starting to desire your product, and eventually at the end of the process there's going to be an action which we hope is a purchase. And now at any time in that model they will also share the experience they're having with you as it happens, whether that be on Twitter or Facebook or good old-fashioned just telling somebody about it in the supermarket queue. The other thing missing in a lot of ads in mass media, and we blame mass media because I ran an ad, nothing happened, was that there's no call to action. What did you expect to happen? A lot of times we run an ad with nice headlines and photos of our products and a lot of copy, and we might even put our contact details on the back, and we'll say, well, no one called. Well, there's no call to action. There was your contact details there, so they could have called if they were really excited about it, but where was the offer? Or the timeliness of a deadline? Or, even though I hate them, the competition that you could have entered if you responded. So you have to make sure that your ad, even if it's there to build awareness, has some form of call to action. Click through to our site to get more. Do this, phone us, find out more, turn to page 26. Some form of call to action that the people who are the most interested in can act on. And it has to be the right message. And that gets us back to features and benefits. The ad that says, we are a family-owned business who has been operating for 30 years in our community and we have the best customer service at the cheapest prices. You can run that with the right reach and the right frequency and a lovely call to action at the bottom, but you haven't said anything about you and your position. You've just listed the features of your business, not the benefits to the reader, viewer or listener.